do the acknowledgement that we're not responsible for any injuries that you may observe on here. Didn't happen here. Inside joke, right?
Well, that's the price you pay for being on city council.
But we're so glad that the injury that he sustained didn't keep him away from doing his just duties. So with that, we've had the invocation and we've had the pledge, and we'd just like to recognize all our visitors that are here. We thank you for taking out of your schedule to be here, because we do know that it's definitely a need for the city to be involved in making city decisions both ways. And with that being said, we don't have any comments from the audience or anything, right, Ms. Misty? Okay, and so that'll bring us up to item number 1. Approval of our minutes from regular session, March 3, 2025. And as a comment on the minutes, just had a little clarification when we go through them and when we approve them. The minutes, even though they may not be verbatim, they are the minutes of what was, they're the minutes of what were actually said, whether it was agreed upon or not. So it's not that you have to agree with what's in the minutes. The person that made the statement. We're just approving that it was said. That the minutes were taken. And so some of them might be opinion in the minutes, but it is basically just a repeat of what was said and recorded.
Okay.
I hope everybody understood that part.
I make a motion we approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, and that brings us to brings us to item number 2, Police Department Manpower and Criminal Incident Report for February 2025.
The Mayor, Council, City Administrator. Police Department Manpower and Criminal Activity Report for February 2025. Total of 16 officers, worked 2,576 hours, responded to 296 calls for service, investigated 7 traffic accidents, made 45 arrests, issued 380 traffic citations, completed 58 reports, and responded to 24 alarm calls. 20 of those were calls.
Wow.
Below that, you'll see a breakdown of our report. I'll entertain any questions you may have on that report.
Well, we will make a statement. We did know that we had a major incident in the city, and we're so grateful that we were grateful that y'all were able to handle it, because I know all of the officers from all departments were pretty much there. And we're so grateful that no one was hurt, but it was able to be taken care of. And we do appreciate, because of the comments that you had from other people was we wouldn't have taken that kind of action and taken care of the human lives. And so we do appreciate that where you were able to make that decision and no one was able to get physically hurt. We do appreciate it.
Yes.
Something I want to mention on that, Chief Brazell and Chris Jimenez. So when dispatchers notified the officers that there was a man outside the sheriff's office shooting, obviously they started calling for assistance. 2 of our PD guys were first on scene to encounter me. Shortly after that, the fire chief and one of his guys arrived as well. And if y'all don't know, he's also a police officer.
He was there.
Chris is too. So their help, along with the highway patrol, they were able to get that situation under control without any further incident. So I really appreciate Chief Brazell and his guy for showing up and helping ours as well.
And this is where you throw your little plug in, how important it is for people to be cross-trained in the city of Crockett, so that they're not only police officers, they're firemen, and they're EMS and all of that. And that's the trend that you're moving toward. So it does work well when you have that in the city.
Thank you.
And I wanted to thank you, man, for sending some officers over there to the Little Dribblers game Saturday, man. Keeping the kids safe.
And thank you. Just kind of want to ask, and I guess you can report on that next time. I kind of just want to know, like the amount of calls we had about, do we know where the majority of the calls are coming from, or what part of the city that they're coming from, or
Talking about specific numbers? If
No.
you're asking specific numbers, no, I don't have that tonight.
Okay.
We can break that down. We don't break that down into specific numbers. As the calls come in, we just take them no matter where they're at. So, it could be broken down. It would take some time, but
Okay.
I don't have that.
Okay, I'm just asking like the areas, not the specific numbers. Just what area are we getting majority of the calls from?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We could break
Break
that
it down,
down
okay.
and see specific areas.
Okay,
That's something that.
What kind of calls?
Every time someone calls in, for a call for service.
Okay.
First thing the dispatchers do is they ask, what's going on?
okay,
And what's your address?
okay,
They plug that information in and they immediately dispatch our officers. And those different times of the year, it's gonna rotate.
Mhm.
There's no particular specific area that I can think of right off the top of my head that, demands more than others.
Okay, that's what my
There's calls
question-
that come in all over, so.
yeah. Well, that was my main question, is what areas demanded more, police, presence than others, so that was.
I can get those numbers for you, and show exactly, where the numbers rank. We could do that by precinct, we could do it by streets, but we could show where the majority of the calls come from.
Okay. Whichever is easiest, it'd be fine with me. I was just kind of trying to figure out what areas,
Is that
police.
something you would want for a yearly report, or would you want it monthly?
Yearly would be fine. Yeah, that'd be great.
If you did it by precinct, probably 75% of your calls are at Walmart, right?
Sometimes I'd say about 80%.
80? Okay,
Yeah.
well, I was close.
That's what
So, I mean, that,
It is,
Okay.
it really varies all across the city. But those numbers could be broken down to show, where the majority of the calls are, or where certain numbers are. It would take some time because the system doesn't break it down by precinct. But that's
I mean, but if you did precinct, you're gonna show Walmart is in precinct such and such, and that's gonna be really high, so, I mean,
Well, we do have to
but
be careful with
do you
that.
want like theft, or do you want, what kind of calls do you want? You want
He has listed here,
miscellaneous offenses, this on here, miscellaneous, you want theft, what do you want?
he has
Possession
200,
of marijuana?
he has 296
assaults?
calls listed here. And what I'm asking is the majority, where the majority of the calls are coming from. It doesn't matter the place, the location, I just want to know the area of where they're mainly coming from. So it's like, I guess I don't need to know if it's coming from Walmart or anything like that, but if Walmart, if it's coming from the nursing home or any, in that area over there, I'd like to know what parts of towns are we getting the most calls from? If that's,
But I think if we break it down, we'll have to break it down specifically by precincts, just to show, if that's what you're asking. Because I don't think we can, we have to be inclusive of the entire city.
That's
We're
correct.
gonna
I
break it
understand.
down, we're gonna have to break it down all across the board and let everybody know that each precinct, this is where the calls come from. We won't just include one side, but that's something we can do. It would just take some time.
okay. Just, no rush. If you do it yearly, that's fine with me. I just was requesting that. I appreciate
Okay.
it.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Item number 3, Fire Department Monthly Activity and Status Report for February 2025.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, city administrator. For the month of February, we had a total of 35 calls. Breaking that down, 14 of those calls was inside the city response area, and 21 was in the county response area. There's a breakdown of each call. If there's any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Okay, they were down.
It was 21 in the city and 14 in the county.
21 in the county, 14 in the city. The weather kind of hit us last month, the wind's blowing, and everything's starting to ramp up a little bit, so, total 35 calls, but 14 in the city and 21 in the county.
Any?
And we're not currently under burn ban, right?
For the city, we have not been issuing burn permits the last week because of the red flag warnings. So I appreciate the citizens understanding that because we don't want to end up on TV like some of the Fredericksburg and stuff like that. Inside the city limits, we kind of, last week and a half, we cut back on fire permits due to the wind blowing and everybody being close to each other, so.
A lot of wind right now.
It is a lot of wind. Okay, anybody else have any questions?
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chief. Okay, this brings us up to our business, presentation, discussion, and acceptance of fiscal year 2024 financial audit. Madam?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Molly Abley, the Tax President, and we have some new
Hey,
faces.
Jason, can you check the,
Volume.
for some reason that sounded like it's,
Vibrating or something.
it's on that side,
It's all the way around.
timed off again.
There we go.
We heard it here.
Okay, better, maybe. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, so I have a lot of information for you. Even though it says draft on it, we're sitting at a 99.9% completion. So if there are no changes or questions after a day or so, they will be finalized and sent over to the city. So it's just kind of a formality in case anyone has any questions following tonight's presentation. They can always get with management and they can send that over to me and we can get you some answers if you don't have it right off the bat tonight. So I will start with kind of the loose, I put a 5-year summary on top of your page here. And really, we kind of started doing that this past year. And we take the last 5 audit report years and summarize a lot of that information into this chart here. The very top chart is your general fund. That's kind of your operating fund for the city. And you can kind of see what has happened over the last 5 years. Some of the significant changes, if you're just comparing one year to the next, your other sources in 2021, that's just note proceeds that you took out a note that year. So that was something that goes what we call below the line. It's not your normal operating revenues or expenditures. It comes into a category called other sources. And the same thing happened in 2024. That other source in the current year was the new debt that you issued this year. So as far as your operating expenses and revenues, they're pretty comparable each year. Your change in your fund balance for the general fund is pretty comparable, except for those 2 years where we issued that debt. The way that governmental fund accounting works is in the year that you issue debt, it's kind of considered a revenue in this fund, and then we move it into the liability in the government-wide statement, and we'll look at that one in a minute. But overall, your annual fund balance compared to your annual expenditures, that's the last line, that percentage right there. For the last 5 years, you've averaged about 40% of your annual expenditures in your fund balance. It's a healthy fund balance. That's over, 40% of the following year. That's how long you could operate if you received no more money in the city, right? And then if you compare your cash and investments line there at the top, and you compare that to your fund balance each year over the past 5 years, you've had over 100% of your fund balance in cash. So you're highly liquidable. The cash is there if you need it. And we've had all sorts of extenuating circumstances the last few years. So that's a very healthy fund balance and healthy general fund. The second section of chart there is your water and sewer fund activity over the past 5 years. Some significant changes, mostly in your cash and investments, is due to some money and grant money that has not been spent. And starting in 2022, you had about $1.6 million in grant funds. You had the SIB loan in 2023. And then you had some other money in the current year, TWDB. Some of all that is not all expended at one time. And so that kind of increases your cash number until that money is spent. You can kind of see that in line with your capital assets increasing over the past 5 years. A lot of that is all the projects you've been working on, your water storage tank project, your industrial park utility improvements, and then, of course, the SIB improvements that you're doing in the current year. Overall, your net position in the water and sewer fund is just over the $9.3 million there in the middle of the page. And you did have a slight decrease in the current year in your water and sewer. All that really attributed to that is the admin fee that we sent over to the general fund to kind of support the general fund, which is pretty typical sometimes in places this size. But that was the largest increase in the expenses in the current year. That's kind of the short or sweet of that sheet, but any questions on those particular items?
You said what funds had not been expended as of yet? And you said 1.6 million and...
Well, that was in 2022. There was 1.6 million transferred from the grant fund over into some capital asset projects that you were working on. And then you had some funds in the SIB loan. I think it was 4 million or so that haven't been spent in the current year. Or as of September 2024. You probably spent some of them this year. The larger book that is here with your information is our audit report on page 3. We are issuing an unmodified opinion, which is the highest opinion we can give. It states that everything in this book is presented fairly in all material respects. Of course, it goes on to say that management's responsible for the financial statements and that we as auditors are responsible for issuing an audit opinion on the financials. Yes, the very thick book. On page 9, this is your statement of net position for the entire city. It combines the summary pages that we looked at before, and then it just gives a little more detail here in those categories. And that first column there is where we take the general fund and we add to it the assets of the city as well as the debt of the city. So overall, in your governmental activities, once you add in your debt and your assets for the city, your total net position in that particular column is just over the $3.5 million for the year. You also, the last column there, your economic development as of 2024 is still a component unit of the city, so their information is also included in this report. And their total net position at the end of September was just over $800,000 for the year. All of your notes are the same compared to prior year, just updated for current information. If you do want to review over the next day or so, page 30, your contingency and subsequent event note, that one is updated for current year activity. And I'll let you read that at your leisure, and you can email me with any changes if you would like. The other draft is the little small report. That is the economic developments report. It is included since it is part of your city as a component unit. We have that there as well. It is also getting an unmodified opinion stating all the financials here are presented fairly in all material respects. And then the last sheet of paper is just our standard communication letter. If we had any problems, issues, or concerns of the governing board, we have to report that to you. Happy to report we had no problems, issues, or concerns during the audit. Everything ran smoothly, and happy to have no issues to discuss. It's kind of the short and sweet of it. That's why you have some information to look over, but if you have any questions, I'll be happy to go over them.
Okay.
Anybody have any
Looks
questions?
good. Thank you, John.
Good job.
You're looking good.
Well, we appreciate you letting us do your audit, and we appreciate your team. They do a great job of getting us everything that we ask for, and it's a joy to work with them. So, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is scary looking at this one. Okay, any other comments on the audit? Or do we have to, we need a motion to accept
accept.
it?
I make a motion we accept the audit.
Okay, it's been
A second.
moved in second, all in favor? All opposed? We have one, is either yes
Yeah.
or no. Right.
So,
I know we had the minutes of the day, the motion,
So-
how
so
you do the
it- so-
motion.
so
You
we've
can-
had an opportunity to review all of this?
Yes, when we just received it. Yes, ma'am.
I mean, have we had an opportunity to review all of this? I mean, review it, like look through it?
If you want.
Because she
to-
said if we had any questions.
So if the motion tonight is to accept it, you still have an opportunity to review it and send questions and, get any further explanation on it. As far as this is receiving it. So if you vote on it, you're voting to accept it or to receive the audit, and you have access to review it.
Okay. So we won't ever review first and then accept it? No.
We all just now received it. I received it today as well, so.
Well, that's what I'm asking. I
So I
mean,
will have to review it and look over it, and if you have questions,
but no changes after we accept it, correct, or no?
no, you can make changes. If there's something that's materially can be presented or found, yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so, motion was on, we had the vote, all in favor was 3, and, I guess the no was, and it was a no vote.
So you already taken the vote?
Oh, yeah, we just called for it.
Okay.
Okay, and you didn't vote, right? You
Well,
vo-
yeah.
We
I
said,
mean,
okay,
Basically, yes, ma'am, I'm abstaining because
okay.
I hadn't actually
It's,
reviewed.
according to our motion, is
Are you receiving it?
It passed.
Are you receiving it, accepting it?
that you do
Are you
have.
accepting the,
Oh, accepting what the sheets,
yes, ma'am. The vote is to receive it.
but we can make action, but you said we can
The
make changes.
auditors are the ones that write it up and approve it and send it to us, and we can receive it or accept
Okay.
this document. So if you're making a motion to approve it or to receive it, that's what the vote is for tonight.
It passed,
It's,
3-1.
okay, and,
Let's
Yeah,
go
it's
on.
already, yeah,
Well-
the voters already given us.
The mayor's,
Yeah, so you can put me down as abstain then.
it's not according
I
to the,
don't know.
okay, I know according to
We can
those, the
discuss it
training
later.
we had, okay. Well, we have that covered. Okay, so, with that being said, it takes us to item number 5. Consider and approve fiscal year 2026 budget calendar.
Mayor and council, we're moving into that season of budget preparation for our next fiscal year audit that'll start in October, over the next few months. This calendar kind of kicks off some of our timelines that we're wanting to meet in developing our budget for this next year. And so, that being said, this is not necessarily locking you down to these calendar dates, but it's requesting that you put these hard onto your calendar to make sure that we all attend, as department heads bring in and we have our initial budget workshop. That will really help council get all on the same page of what our city's needs and issues are ongoing, and as we kind of formulate a consensus about how the budget needs to look and the tax rates to accompany it, and the utility rates to accompany those expenses. It's good to have all of us all on the same page, you know. So that being said, we do have a calendar that
It's on the back page.
it's on the back page, yes, sir. And so if there's
Item number 5, yeah.
if there's any issues with some of these, especially the ones that are highlighted, there's 4 council meetings that are required by law. Well, the second one is not required. It's only required if we were not able to
Yeah, the first one.
carry through with all the work from the first one. And then August 4th and August 18th are also dates that are required. And we're required to vote on them on the 18th. That's where we vote on we have the hearings on both the tax rate and the budget, and we approve the tax rate and the budget.
And I would just like to encourage the council that's here that this is where you get your questions asked, so it's no surprises at the end. If it's, as each one of those items come up, you'll be able to dialogue and whatever and get any detailed questions you're asked, so that when it comes to the final budget, it shouldn't be any surprises. You've already projected what you're gonna vote, what areas you're gonna work on. And so it's really important that as the budget workshop goes forward, that's what it's all about, to get the questions out of the way. So by the time we get to the end, and you get when the tax come in, we'll know exactly where everything is going. It shouldn't have to reopen up detailed questions, unless we have to cut back something because of funding. But any questions that you have, that's the time to make sure that you write them on your sheet of paper, bring and let them be explored. It works really well, and it's no surprises when you get to the end of it.
Some of this is a little bit of a moving target, the things that we don't know.
We can't have,
for instance, the property taxes, we won't have the appraisal, the appraised values or anything. The certified rolls do not come in until towards the end of July. So a lot of it we're using anticipated, appraisals based on estimates received by the appraisal district and things that we know about, upcoming construction that we know that took place and things of that nature. Sales tax, all of those are a little bit moving, the targets. That being said, we don't foresee significant. We do have some increases in property values, some new constructions that's taking place in the city. We're excited that there's been quite a bit of construction, a lot more that's taken place this year that won't go onto the tax rolls until the following year, so we won't see it right away. But those are all things that play into the things that we can afford and take care of without adjusting utility rates or tax rates. So that being said, you have your budget calendar with some of the objectives that we're looking at. If there's questions on that, over the next few months, myself and the department heads will be working together, putting packets together of needs and expenses to correlate with those needs, and then we'll be bringing them to council. Is there any questions either on that and or on the calendar, the timeline? Do y'all prefer one item? Do y'all prefer the July 7th council meeting, the budget workshop? Are y'all okay with a morning? That's a Monday. Are y'all okay with the morning meeting? That tends to be one of the longer of the meetings where all the department heads, and we have a break or two. We'll have some breakfast to kind of keep everybody moving forward. But if we have it in the evening, it really, you kind of lose.
So we'll have that morning meeting, and then we'll have a meeting that evening?
So y'all can as well let me know. Do y'all want? We can include both meetings at that at the morning meeting, and not and just take, unless there's something else that comes up that is unforeseen. We can include both of them in the same council, and you don't have a morning and an evening meeting. What would y'all like to do?
Just one.
Knock it out that morning.
Knock it out.
Okay, we can do that too.
Because it's gonna take all half the day. Okay.
All right.
So, anyone else has any comments on the projected budget calendar?
Those, all the dates look good to me.
Yeah.
Just using those days, and if y'all can put them in your calendar, if y'all can put them on y'all's phone. Yeah. And that way.
With me, it looks good right now.
Yeah, and that's for
until we get to that date.
What we know.
That's the best thing I could ask is put them in your phone. Yeah. That way, if something else comes up that just is a no, you can't budge, then give me as much heads up so I can adjust.
Okay.
So I can adjust. So let me know if something changes.
And we appreciate the projection. Yes, we're ready. Up for motion.
Can I?
Well, we have to make a motion for you to discuss.
Make that motion. That's what she said. Make that motion.
I make a motion, we approve the fiscal year 2026 budget calendar.
Yes.
I'll say,
Now we're ready.
We can discuss. Only thing, I'm just, I'm not trying to discuss anything, but just trying to put forth, I see you have street, water, and sewer.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do we have anything in place for light poles and lighting?
So that's a budgeted line
Okay,
that we contract with Encore for streetlights.
okay,
And so if there's if there's a significant adjustment, then that would have to be something that we would have to work into the budget. If it's just adding one or two, removing one or two, then that can be done within, right now, and I'm kind of jumping ahead, but, you know, right now, our goals in streetlights and our contract with Encore is to cover all intersections. And if there's a long distance between those intersections, we have intermittent but no specific requirements that we have so many light, but, you know, feet apart, as long as intersections are covered. If there's lights that are gone out, that need to be replaced, they're already under contract and we can replace those at no cost. You know, we're already actually paying for them. If there's a physical light head there and it's not working, we're paying for it,
okay,
whether it works or not. So those are things that we can discuss.
okay. What, and, in reference to not just light poles, but poles in general, because we have a lot of poles that are leaning and that need replacing. So that's,
We're working right now, and that shouldn't impact us anything on the budget, but most of the utility poles that we see leaning around town are windstream poles. And so they're abandoned by Encore. Encore has already replaced their poles, moved their services over, their utilities over. And there's 2 or 3 black cables hanging from these other poles, and these are windstream poles. And we do have significant problems. We have probably about a list of 35, 40 of them right now that we've turned in and they're not replacing.
But they're
I'm
not
also-
they're not a danger.
okay, I'm also just the ones like on 19 that are leaning towards those businesses. And then when you drive down 19, you will see them.
It's windstream.
Yeah, Windstream, so,
Yes, ma'am.
They
They've
allow-
already been turned in.
okay.
But that's not a budget or, you
Okay.
know, yeah. It's more of an enforcement and kind of an oversight issue
Okay.
with windstream.
Well, I second that motion.
We got a second.
It's been moved
Moved
and
and
second.
second,
Now,
okay.
we're ready for the vote. All in
Okay.
favor? Okay, motion carries. All right. And can we get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Nobody's gonna fight that one. We got that one. Okay. The easiest thing I've done all day today. Lord, it's been one of those days.
In a couple of
It's been a busy day.
yes, sir, in a couple of areas, we're doing lane widening.
Have a good evening, you too.
Put in a $3 million bill, change order request. We need to do it inside the loop all the way up to the sheriff's office or to the bell. They weren't even wanting to do that one, but
They're gonna do it all the way to what? They're gonna just widen
lane widening at
I know they called what it was, whatever it was.
asphalt and all. I don't think that they're having any, I'm not sure. I'm not aware of it.
But it's all up. It's gonna be that, and stuff, and